Lesson 4. Right, this week we're going to look at something called Malaguena. It's a Spanish song. There's a lot that goes on in this, so there's a lot of different elements that we need to learn and we need to be able to play. So before we get onto it, let's take a look at what it looks like. Right, that was Malaguena. Before we start this lesson, I want you to try something. I want you to take out your tab and I want you to try and play it without any assistance, without any help. You're probably not going to get all the way through it. You're probably not going to, there's certain parts you might get a little confused with, but you definitely got to try. So try playing the song without any instruction. Give it a sort of a good half an hour, and then start learning with the videos. We're going to break this down section by section as usual, and there's 5 sections, and then at the end we put them all together and we've got our song. Alright, so let's get to Malaguena. Section 1. Right, for this section and for all of the sections, we're going to play the song freely. That means we're not going to worry too much about the counts in the bar. They're very important, but we're not going to stay so strict. We want to play with a little bit of feeling and sort of morph the time as much as we want and try and sort of improve on that sort of aspect of playing. So don't stress too much about the counts in the bars. We're just going to look at it nice and free. Alright, first section, let's take a closer look at that tab. And what we've got is 0, 1, 3, 1, 0. And then we've got a little 12, and that 12 has got a triangle above it. It's a harmonic, natural harmonic. And then the next bar, it's exactly the same, 0, 1, 3, 1, 0, with the 12 harmonic, just on different strings. And then we've got a third bar and a fourth bar, which look fairly similar. Right, so the first thing they're asking us to do is play 0 on your thinnest, 1, 3, 1, and 0. Right, this is very Spanish, so it should sound like this. Now that's where the sort of feel comes in. Alright, so we're playing those first 3 notes on the thinnest string and we're trying to get a Spanish feel, and that's why I've asked you to play this sort of freely and without strict timing on the bars. So that's all we've got to do. We've got to go 0, 1, 3, 1, 0. 0, 1, 3, 1, 0. we've done that, we go all the way up to our 12th fret, double dots should be right by this edge here. And on your second thickest string, right on the fret, we just gently touch that string and we make that noise, that harmonic. Alright, so that first bar. That's all we have to do. Alright, so stop the video, practice just that bar. Try and get a little bit of a Spanish feel, and just practice those notes over and over and over until you get comfortable. It's not going to sound exactly like mine straight away. It takes practice, lots of time, lots of practice. Then, onto the second bar. The second bar, we're doing exactly the same thing. We just moved everything up a string. So instead of playing on our thinnest, we now play on our second thinnest. 0, 1, 3, 1, 0. Is on 12th fret, just gently above this fret, you just gently rest your finger and you pick that string and you get it to resonate. Alright, but we're going to do it like that. And that takes a lot of practice and time getting that perfect. So the second bar. 0, 1, 3, 1, 0. You can add some trills in, you can do whatever you like. Right. Okay, so those two first bars, very similar. You can stop the video and you can practice those two bars and just practice getting that sort of Spanish feel for everything. That's why we're doing it free. We want to just sort of experiment and play along. You can keep it sort of nice and sort of straightforward, nice and slow and simple, and then just experiment. Alright, so those two bars together. One more time. Alright, what you can do as well is once you've done the 0, 1, 3, 1, 0, and you can let that ring and you gently come around and do your harmonic without muting that string out. So you, instead of going, let that string ring out. And the same for the second bar. Alright, so stop the video and practice that over and over and over and over. On to the third bar. And we're doing almost exactly the same, except now we're going to be playing a chord instead of doing those harmonics. So let's try the first bar, well, the third bar. Exactly the same. Now, on your tab it shows you a 0, 1, 2, 2 and a 0. That is your A minor chord. Like that. 0, 1, 2 and 2. So go back to earlier lessons in term 1 and have a look at that A minor and get that chord. And practice moving away, playing back on. So now all we need to do is we need to go 0, 1, 3, 1, 0. Find your A minor, you've got lots of time because you can let that ring, you can play it freely. And then you're just going to strum A minor. Right, and on to the third bar, or the fourth bar. Same thing, we're just moving up again. 0, 1, 3, 1, 0. E major. Another chord you need to go back and have a look at. That full E major. And we play that once, so. Right, then what they're asking us to do. Firstly, that's 0, 0, 1, 2, 2 and 0. That's your E major. That's the first sort of line of chords. Then they're asking 0, 3, 3, 2, 0, 0. All you're doing is you're moving that E major up a fret. Very Spanish sounding. And you play that once. And then you move your E major back and you shift it back down. And you play it again, and now you let it ring out. So that fourth bar a little slower. The first part of it, then your E major chord. Then you shift up a fret. All of these fingers up a fret, you play all of the strings. And then you're shifting back down. And you're letting that E ring out. Alright, so stop the video, go through that very slowly, have a look at your tab and go through with your tab. You've got the same sort of thing done throughout, it's just on different strings, and sometimes you're playing a harmonic, sometimes you're playing some chords. So there's 4 bars, they're all very similar. Practice them individually, put them all together, and that'll be your first section. So stop the video, do just that, and then once you've sort of done that, you rejoin the video, and I'm going to play it a couple times all the way through for you. Alright, so section 1. And again. Alright, and you're going to practice doing it soft, doing it loud in certain parts. When you want to emphasize something, maybe play it a little bit sort of louder and harder. If you want to chill it out a little bit, then you play a little bit softer, even a little bit slower. Entirely up to you how you play this. That's what is nice about this, is you get to play with a bit of feel and you get to do exactly what you want. That's a very important part of playing the guitar and any musical instrument. Learning how to play with dynamic, learning how to play freely, and sort of learning how to improvise and adding in trills and adding in slides and all sorts of other stuff. So that is all those 4 bars add up to your first section. So stop the video, practice it over and over and over, and that is basically how to play section 1. Section 2. Right, section 2 moves on to some picking on some chords. It's going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and. Now this you can play a little bit sort of more formal in your counting. You can still play freely, you can still do what you want, but the flow is important. It's got to have that nice sort of flow to it. So keep the counting fairly rigid. 1 and 2 and 3 and. 3 counts in these bars. Alright. Let's take a look at that tab. Now we've got 4 bars for this section, so we're going to look at each bar individually first. The first thing they're asking you to do, and this is a little shortcut, when you read a bar like that, you can see that there's a 2 on your 3rd thickest. They're going to ask you to play a 1 on your 3rd thinnest as well. So you can put both of those fingers there and get them ready. And that is basically a shortened version of your E major. We're not playing these 2 chords, 2 notes. We're just playing that. So this is what your fingers look like. Right, we're not strumming, we're picking. So they're asking us to play 2nd fret on your 3rd thickest, and then you're going to play with alternate picking the thinnest string. Then they want you to play this 3rd thinnest at the 1st fret, and we've already got our finger there because we're holding the chord. With your thumb again, and then your open E string. Then with your thumb again, we're going to play the second thinnest string, 0, and our thinnest string. So we're playing thumb, middle, thumb, middle, thumb, middle. This hand doesn't move, your thumb just slowly moves down your strings as you alternate. So, beginning of the bar, 2, 0, next string, 1, 0, next string, 0, and 0. So your thumb is going, it's just moving down strings. One and two and three and. So if you to practice that over and over and over, and you just keep going thumb, middle, and you just practice going through those 3 strings, and you keep going over and over and over until you get nice and comfortable and your wrist starts sort of moving comfortably, your fingers find it easy, and you just keep that going. Then you start getting the idea of the flow. Alright, so practice that over and over and over and over. Let's take another look at it. Your hands don't move from there, and you're going 2, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 2, 0, 1, 0, and then 0, 0. Now the second bar, so you can stop the video and you can try that on your own, but the second bar is identical. You play the same thing again. So let's do that twice in a row, playing the first 2 bars. We're holding our chord, 2nd fret and 1st fret, right over there. And then we're just going onto the right strings and we're picking 1 and 2 and 3 and second bar the same, 1 and 2 and 3 and together. And that is all you have to do for the first 2 bars. So stop the video and practice that over and over and over. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and all with that same chord. Once you've practiced that enough, rejoin the video and we're going to do the other 2 bars. Now, the 3rd and the 4th bar, what we're going to do is we're going to prepare ourselves and we're going to shift this down. And this is going to be like the A minor, except we're only playing from there down for now. So take this chord we've done and shift it down a string, each finger down a string. So you're on your 3rd thinnest, 2nd thinnest. 2nd fret, 1st fret, and open. Now they want us to play 2, 0, 1, 0. You're then going to take this finger away and you're going to play 2nd thinnest, open, 0. And that is the 3rd bar. Fingers back on. 2, 0, 1, 0. Take your 1st finger away. Open, 0. Back on, let's try that again. 2, 0, 1, 0. Open, 0. I'm going to play that a couple times so you can get the idea of it. Alright, and that's quite fast, so we can play that a bit slower. Alright, we're going to carry on through. There onto the last bar. We need to play this again, but we don't put this finger back. 2 on your 2nd fret, 3rd thinnest, and then our open E. We then take this finger away, and we play that open 3rd string, the G, and then that note, the thinnest. Ring finger for the last note comes all the way up onto your 6, 5, 4th thickest, at the 3rd fret. And we play that note. It's an F. And I'll open again. Alright, so let's go back very slowly to the 3rd bar. So the 1st chord, the 2nd chord. That's where we are. We're then going to play our 2, open, 1, open. Take this away. 0, open. Last bar, come up to the 2, open. Take your finger away, same string, the G, G, open. Ring finger, 3rd fret comes up 4, and you're playing that F. One more time, let's go back to the 2nd chord, 2 and 1. We're starting over here on our 3rd string. 2, open, 1, open, then open, open. Back up to the 2, open, and then the 3 on your 4th thickest. 3, open. Alright, so you're going to stop the video and you're going to practice those 2 last bars. It's basically you're playing a little bit of a scale and you're alternating your picking with that as well. So it kind of goes up and down, to put it simply. It's going to look and sound like this. Again. One more time. So what you need to do is you need to practice those last 2 bars. You just need to practice knowing where your fingers are. They're going up a little bit through your picking, and then your fingers are just slowly coming off and you're coming down in a scale. So practice that very, 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 very slowly on its own until you get comfortable. It's going to take a while, and it feels a little bit tricky and awkward and all that, and that's the coordination part. That's that sort of flow that you want to get to. So just remember, you're always thumb, middle, and you're alternating all the way through. So now stop the video and practice that on its own. Then once you've done all of the 4 bars on their own, the first 2 are the same, then you've got the last 2 which sort of go up and down in a scale. And then once you've practiced those, you're going to put them all together and you're going to rejoin the video here. I'm going to play it a couple times through the 2nd section for reference for you. Alright, so starting on this first new chord. Straight back to the beginning. Down a chord. Once you've done that and you've finished, the 2nd finger comes behind it, 1st finger in, and you're right back at the beginning again. Start again. Alright, so that takes a bit of practice. As soon as you've played that last note, that 3 on your tab, you are shifting back right to the beginning of the 2nd section because you're going to play the 2nd section twice in the song. So you're going to practice moving from that 3, then you put your 2nd finger behind it, your 1st finger comes in and you've got your 1st chord again and you're prepared and you're ready to go and you continue playing that over and over. And then with time, with a lot of time and a lot of practice, it'll speed up all on its own and you'll be able to sort of play that a lot smoother and faster. But you don't have to. You can play it freely, you can play it nice and slow, or you can set yourself a goal and you're going to go, I'm going to practice this over and over and over and over and over until it goes really fast. and then it kind of sounds sort of different, but very cool. Alright, so practice all of those bars individually, add them all together to create section 2, then just keep repeating section 2 for practice, and then we'll move on to the next section. And that's basically how to play section 2. Section 3. Right, you lead straight from section 2 into section 3. So as soon as you've done section 2, you play the very first note of section 3, and then you can kind of chill out and play it freely again. So let's have a look at that. Section 3, first thing they're asking us to do is to play our open string. And then we're going to be playing that first chord that we learned for the song. And we're going to just do a little roll. And you can do this however you like. But basically you're going, and you're kind of strumming through that. And you're not strumming through fast. You're just rolling through it. Alright, so first thing. So from your second section you would be doing that's how you're starting your section 3. Alright, then what you can do is you can just let that ring out a little bit. You can let it ring as long as you want until you're ready to play the chords. Because section 3 is going to be chords, and we're going to do a little bit of counting for these chords. First chord we've got to do is the A minor, and we're going to play A minor, and we're going to count for 3. 1, 2, 3. Alright, 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to lift our ring finger up and put it just above the second finger at that third fret, the fret that we pick in this second section, and then this finger drops down a string, and we're going to be playing an F. Alright, that's a full F major, but we're going to play with an open string. So just there, and there. Alright, and that is our second chord, and we let that ring for 3 counts as well, and we're playing from 4th string down. 1, 2, 3. So just like that. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so the first chord, A minor, 1, 2, 3, to the F, 1, 2, 3, and then our third chord is E major, 1, 2, 3. Right, so we're going A, 1, 2, 3, to the F, 1, 2, 3, to the E major, 1, 2, 3. Alright, let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, to the F, 1, 2, 3, to the E major, 1, 2, 3. Then we play the E major again, 1, 2, 3. Alright, now next chord, A minor, 1, 2, and play 3 again. So 1, 2, 3. Then we go to the F again, 1, 2, and we play 3. So it goes 1, 2, 3, and then back to E major, 1, 2, 3, and you just let that ring, and then you play E major again, 1, 2, 3. Alright, so have a look at your notes. You'll notice we play the A minor, F, E, E. A minor, F, E, and E. The first time we just let each chord ring out 3 counts, and the second time around we play first count, let it ring second, third, and then first count, let it ring second and third, and then we play the third, and then the last chord we let them ring out for 3. The reason we're playing on that third count in the sort of second loop, second cycle of the chords, is I want you to get to that place where you can play leading into the next chord. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. It's a very sort of signature sort of Spanish technique. So our chords are going to be, let's have a look at them one more time. A minor, F, E, and E. Then we're doing it again. A minor, F, E, and E. Okay, I'm going to play that for you, and I'm counting to 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Second cycle. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so stop the video and practice that on your own. Practice getting those chords and moving from them. There's only 3 chords, and you're going to practice just moving your fingers to those chords, and then practice strumming along and counting. So we've got one sort of little lead in to playing these chords in section 3. So section 2 goes straight into the first bar we did, which we're going to look at now, and then you're playing your chords. Alright, so let's look at that whole thing one more time. First thing they want us to do is play that first chord that we learned, and we play the open string, and then I'll roll. And we can let that ring out as long as we want. Then we're playing our chords, starting with the A minor. 1, 2, 3, F, 2, 3, E, 2, 3, E, 2, 3, back to A minor. A, 2, 3, F, 2, 3, E, 2, 3, E, 2, 3. And that is all you have to do for section 3. You're going to play your open string, and you do a little roll, and then you're playing your set of chords. Practice those over and over and over until you get a nice sort of smooth sort of sound, and you get a nice flow, and you can do it with feel as well. And that is basically how to play section 3. Section 4. Right, you'll start noticing that all these sections are quite different from each other. You've got a bit of picking, and then you've got some strumming, and now we're going to do a little bit of sort of a scale sort of work. So let's take a look at that tab, and we're just going to go through it very slowly. There's 4 bars again, and the first 2 bars are going to be a little bit of a scale. So they're asking us to play our thinnest string, then 1st fret, 3rd fret on your next string, then open thinnest, then you're going on to your 2nd thinnest string, the 1st fret, same string, 3rd fret, next bar, open on your 2nd thinnest, then 1st fret, next string you can use your 2nd finger, play that 2, back up to 1 on your 2nd thinnest, open, then next string 2 again, and then back to 1 on that same string G. Now, as you've got your tab in front of you, and as you start playing those and you try and figure out those notes and you try and play them, you get a sort of sense, it's kind of like you feel a little bit lost. This is very common when you are learning to play something. There's often new pieces of music that even well-established sort of musicians play, and they kind of feel a little bit lost when they're first learning it, especially if they don't particularly know the song. It's very natural to feel that. What you're going to do is you're just going to practice that little sort of the first two bars, and you're just going to practice finding where those notes are. The flow will come a little bit later as you start playing a little bit faster and speed up, and you know where all the notes are, and you start playing a bit of feel, you'll start getting the idea. So what I want you to do is just practice that over and over and over, just as if it was some sort of exercise. Just play those notes and find them, and then play them one after another, and just get familiar with that. And that's going to sound a bit like this once we're done. All right. And when it comes to playing with feel, you're going to be able to play it however you want. So you play a little bit faster here, a little bit louder, a little bit slower, a little bit quieter, and you'll get a dynamic. So for now, you're learning where those notes are, and then with time and with experimenting around, you get to kind of create your own sound, and you get to play your own thing. That's what we're doing with this song, is we're learning a little bit of freedom. Alright, so let's take a closer look at that. Basically, all we can really do is learn where the notes are. To the one. You can just start off with going 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and so you can count out 1 and 2 and 3, and then you can play in that sort of time. It gets a bit confusing if you count it whilst you try and play it, but you can kind of keep that sort of strict count, or you can play it and you can hang on certain notes and you can make your own thing up. You can do whatever you like. Alright, so let's just go over those notes one more time. You need to read your tab and you need to go through it slowly. Do one bar at a time. The first bar, open 1, then you're going on to the next string 3, and then open on your next string. Then back onto your B string, 1 and 3, and just practice that. Onto your second bar, 0, 1, 2, 1, 0, 2. You can kind of group them however you like. 0, 1, 2. So you're going open 1, next string 2, and then you're kind of going backwards. 1, 0, 2. 0, 1, 2, 1, 0, 2. And that's that second chord we were playing in section 2. 0, 1, next string 2. Then back onto your second thinnest. 1, 0, 2. Onto the next bar, you're going to shift back to 1. And then you're going to place the second finger in on that first chord, that shortened E, and you play your thick string. Then they want you to play 2, 1, 0, 0. So we're not going to do a roll. We're not going to strum that. We're going to pick it. Then we add in our E major chord. And we strum it. Alright, so I'm going to play that whole thing through for you so you can get an idea of what you're working towards. you can speed it up. That is what section 4 looks like. As I've said, you get to play that freely, you get to sort of just practice where all the notes are, and with a bit of time and a bit of practice, that sort of takes care of itself. There's no exact way to play it. If you keep your sort of timing as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and as you play your notes, then you're going to get a particular sound, which is great. So that's what you can start with. And then with a bit of time, you can morph around with the timing and the dynamics, and you can get it to sound however you like. So for now, learn all of those, where all of those notes are, and then just slowly piece it together and just practice as an exercise. And then over time, all on its own, it'll turn into your section 4. And that is basically how to play section 4. Section 5. Right, section 5 is basically our ending of our song. So once we've played our different sections and we've played them in sort of different orders, which we get to on in the next video, section 5 will be the way we sort of end. Now section 5 is very similar to section 1. Let's take a little look at the tabs. What they're asking us to do is play that 0 on your thicker string, and then we are playing our little roll again. And it is that first chord we learnt. That's all we have to do. And you let that ring out as long as you want. Then we're playing what we did in the beginning. First bar exactly the same. Second bar the same, except now instead of going to a harmonic or a chord, we're going to let that ring out a bit. Then our first finger is going to go onto our third thinnest string, and we play that 1. And then straight away, the ring finger goes onto your second fret above that, and your second finger goes onto that. We're playing an A2, and we're going to play just those 3 notes. What we want to do is end on an A note. This is the key we're playing in, which is that. That is an A note. We learn all about notes on the fretboard a little later on in this term. But that is an A, and so is this. So to end the song, and to resolve it so that it sounds good, and it sounds like it's finished, we end on that A. So for the A2, don't play all of the strings, you're just going to play these 3. Alright, so let's take a look at that again. First thing they want us to do is play the open, and then our roll, and we let that ring. Let that ring out. Then we're playing our thinnest string with our harmonic, the 12th fret. Then we're doing the same on the next string, except that's kind of where we leave off. Then we're going on to our third string at the first fret, and we play just that note. Then these 2 fingers come down into the A2, and we play those 3 notes. Right, so it's going to look and sound like this. One more time. Right, that's basically how to play section 5. Now the important part about this is the whole sort of song, when we put it together, sort of goes through various sort of different sort of ebb and flow. There's certain parts which are quite rigid in how you play them, and certain parts that are sort of quite free and open. Towards the end, in section 5, the emphasis you're going to put on is kind of like slowing down, chilling out and stopping. That's what you want to kind of achieve with this. So in the beginning you might play that first sort of part. And towards the end, in this last section, you might want to slow that down a lot. And create that sort of slow down feel towards the end of the song. And the second part, really slow that down a lot, and you can play with a lot of feel and kind of end. Alright, so that's all you have to do for section 5. It's very much like the intro, the section 1, except there's a sort of small change, and that's that last bar. Alright, and that is basically how to play section 5. All sections together. Right, so we've learned the 5 sections. We need to put them together in their various sort of orders to create the song. And I've done that already for you. It's in the tab, so you take your Malaguena tab out, the full song, and all of your sections are in there in the right order. So for example, section starts with section 1, then there's section 2. 2 is repeated, so you don't have to repeat a section or anything like that. It will be written out twice. So you're starting at the beginning and you're working your way all the way through. It's not broken up into any sections or anything like that. It's just start to finish. What you'll do is you'll recognize and you'll notice the sections throughout and in the song once you've practiced those sections enough. So once you've practiced all of those sections, all you need to do is play your tab from your song tab from start to finish. Alright, and I'm going to play that from start to finish in the sort of order and with all your repeats and everything, and I'm just going to give a bit of a commentary on where I feel you might need some extra pointers and notes for this song. Alright, so let's play all sections together. Alright, starting with section 1. To section 2, so that's very straightforward. We start with that first chord we've learning for the picking and alternate picking. And you're only playing section 2 once now, and you're going straight to section 3. And then we're on our chords. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Section 4. Then we're going back to section 2. Section 5. what your Malaguena is going to sound like from start to finish. I've done it a little bit sort of broken up with a bit of commentary, so that you can sort of, once you've practiced all your sections, you can sort of watch this video and you can watch how those sections are put together and the certain aspects you need to sort of know in order to play it smoothly. So practice all the sections, put them together by reading through the tab from start to finish, and then just practice over and over and over. In the next video, I'm just going to play the song throughout. I'll do it nice and slowly with no commentary or anything like that, start to finish. And then sort of this should take a number of weeks to get really good, so don't worry about it. Just make sure you practice the section slowly and you just slowly move forward and on and on and on. And that is basically all sections together. There we have it. That was lesson 4 on Malaguena. There's a lot that we've sort of discussed in this lesson, and there's a lot of different aspects to playing Malaguena. And the biggest part I want to put emphasis on is playing it freely. A lot of musicians and a lot of people starting out learning to play guitar or any instrument are too afraid to play freely and to play what they want, to do what they want. And it's very important. They're usually sort of scared into playing, this is how you need to do it, you need to play it like this, you need to do that. And that's not necessarily so, especially if you're playing for yourself and you just want to learn to play the guitar. Play it freely, do whatever you want, there are no rules. Follow along, do each section how you want, and just sort of get through all of the sections, put it all together, and you've got Malaguena. So don't be afraid to play it however you want and do whatever you want. It's entirely up to you. You're learning a very, very valuable sort of lesson on improvising and playing with dynamic and all those sort of things. And that'll bring your technical level up dramatically. Alright, so if you've got any queries or questions or comments, you can find us on Facebook. And thanks very much for joining us, and that is lesson 4.